Hello my hair warriors, it's me, Aaron O'Brien, your friendly neighbourhood hairdresser. Today's video is sponsored by Lordhair.com, and you're probably asking, what video are we making today? Well, we are going to be talking about shedding and how to prevent it when you're brushing, washing and all of that good stuff. So follow me, let's have the conversation and hear all the fabulous tips. To start off with the preventing of shedding, washing is super important. So one of the tips I have is when you are washing your hair, make sure that you use lukewarm water. If the water is too hot, it can melt down the tape or it can blow open the cuticle in your hair system. It can become matted and harder to comb through. Tip number 2, when you are washing your hair and you are shampooing, I recommend don't scrub at the root. Do not be too rough, always massage gently. Or you can even use a brush or comb to spread through the shampoo afterwards and go in the direction of the hair. Once your shampoo is in the hair, you can leave it for a couple of minutes. So for instance, if you decide just to put it in gently, leave the shampoo for maybe a minute just to let it do its work and then rinse it out. Instead of having to scrub vigorously, it's better off just to leave it, let it get down, strip down those oils or the buildup in the hair, and then you can rinse out afterwards. Once you've shampooed, you're going to rinse out. Again, make sure that you use lukewarm water. And then we're on to tip number 3, which is conditioning. When conditioning, I always recommend using a hair mask. I don't always use conditioner because I find that it's too light, so a mask is heavier, it's more hydrating, it really fills the hair cuticle, makes it nice and hydrated, and it's easier to comb through. If you are combing through your hair, I recommend you use a wide tooth comb, or you can even use the AOB bamboo brush because it has the little balls on the end, so when you are combing through, it doesn't rip the base, it doesn't pull too hard. And talking about pulling it, make sure that you comb slowly, working from the bottom and then making your way to the root. Make sure that your comb or brush doesn't snag any of the lace, so be very careful and make sure, again, do it slowly. You don't have to rush through it. Okay, so the next tip is make sure that your water pressure is low when you're washing your hair and also when you are rinsing your hair. The power of a shower can be so strong, it can get right in here at the system, and sometimes it can dislodge when the system has been worn for a couple of months because it is weaker at that point. So you can use a little bit of water pressure, or when the water pressure is coming down, if you can't adjust, just make sure you can tap with your hands as the water is coming down so you don't get that full force of the pressure on your hair system. Next tip, when you are towel drying, do not scrub all over your head or your system. Be extremely gentle. This is literally going to dislodge that hair if you're scrubbing constantly all the time. It's also going to cause friction in the hair, which can create frizziness. So get your towel, wrap it around the head, pat it dry, just like this, and then remove, and then you're ready to style. Now we're on to styling, and a great tip is when you've dried your hair and you're finished all that washing stuff, you're going to take a detangler. I love AOB, my own product, which is the Miracle Spray. I spritz it around, or any detangler will work pretty well. I just love mine the most. You're going to spray that in and you're going to comb it through. This will protect your hair from heat. It's super important to have a heat protector because we want to prolong our system and make sure that you get more time out of it. When you are combing through your hair system with your detangler, again, make sure that you're using your AOB bamboo brush, or you're using a wide tooth comb or something that has those little balls at the ends of the bristles to stop you ripping your system. Make sure that you're doing it slowly and you get every hair to make sure that each strand is protected from heat. When you're brushing, you don't always have to go right to the root. Start off at the very ends, work your way up, making sure that you get rid of all the matting. Now, if you have been wearing your system for quite some time, 4, 5, 6 months, and there is matting at the root, make sure that you take a small comb and gently section through the hair and comb through to get rid of the matting. So only in those cases do I recommend that you should go right to the root. If you continuously do it, your system is going to shed a little bit more. The gentler, the better. That's how it works. When blow drying your hair, it's very important that you don't have your hair dryer too hot. So keep it at a medium heat, but also have the air flow or air pressure at a lower blow. You don't want the air to be too strong. Again, this is just gonna pull hair out of the system, creating more shedding. When you're using your round brush or you're using any brush for styling, always make sure that you are not too heavy-handed. So be very gentle when you're blow drying, like I said, low air pressure, and try not to tug the system too much. In every way when dealing with a hair system, you have to be super gentle to get the best results. Now, when you are styling and your hair's dried and it's all beautiful and it's ready for styling product, make sure that you use a product that's easy to wash out. I always recommend maybe a hairspray that's a light hold, or a product that doesn't have too much wax in it. Something that's gonna come out of the system that little bit easier. So anything that's heavy in wax, like a Brill cream, or it's heavier in oil base, do not use those. It builds up in the system. The system can also get drier. It can damage the system. And if you go to bed with a heavier product in your hair, there's going to be more pull on the system. So actually, that brings us to going to bed and the best tips for when you are sleeping. Make sure that you use a silk or satin bonnet and a silk or satin pillowcase. When we're sleeping, we move our head around quite often. We trash around the bed sometimes. We want to make sure that we do not have that friction, and satin and silk stop that from happening. It stops the hair matting together and stops the hair pulling out of the system. So it's super important that you do that, because we're sleeping maybe half of our day sometimes. So we want to make sure that we're treating it at its very best when you're asleep. Extra tips for when you are removing your system and putting it back on. Make sure that you are not overstretching the system, especially if you have a thin skin. When you overstretch the system, this will widen the holes in all of the sections. This can cause more shedding. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Don't forget to comment below, click the links, follow lordhair.com. I'll see you all guys very soon. Bye!